Welcome back to the Greater Than Ever podcast. I'm your host, John Alcandy. I bring on special guests from athletes, coaches, people inside and outside the fitness industry, where I learn about them and their history, what made them successful, and how people can learn from them how to be greater than ever. Stopping by for conversation. Well, she's probably one of the most iconic people in the IFBB, in the bikini category in particular. She's actually started competing 10 years ago, coming from a different federation, and then joining the NPC a few years later. In 2018, she earned her IFBB Pro card at an NPC Worldwide event in Spain. Over many years, she's been in the top placings, almost qualifying every year. And then in 2021, she got her Olympia qualification by winning the Arnold UK in her home of England. In 2022, on her Olympia debut, she made 7th in the world against 54 girls. In 2023, she placed 11th, and even though that was not her best showing, it was all learning experience. Everything that she has done, her body of work, her businesses, coaching, just figuring out her body, it's all been off of experience. And honestly, she's such a great person. I actually remember finding her on YouTube, finding out she's from the UK and how she has built her whole life, and to see her whole journey from start to where she is now is amazing. She's built a name, a career, business, a brand. And honestly, people love her for just who she is and how transparent she is, not just based on social media, not just on her physique, but just who she is as a person and a human being. And I'm looking forward to seeing what she does in the future, even beyond the stage. Please welcome my next guest, the greatest bikini pro in all of Europe, Phoebe Hagan. I've been waiting to finally get you on. I know it's totally different.
I know.
Time zone differences. But
Yeah.
you've been one of the people I've been following since you started 2000. It was 2018 when I found you on YouTube, actually, but I believe you started way earlier. So I can't wait to go into that. But first and foremost, I wanted to ask you, how's everything going? You know, we're almost 2 weeks out from the Arnold Classic, and this is your third one.
Yeah, third Arnold's. I mean, it's all come around so quick. Obviously, we've had 2 years off. So, it feels weird to say, yeah, we're competing in 20 days. It's come around so quick. The time has gone so fast. But, I'm very, very excited to be in the position that we are obviously in. And, yeah, it's my third one. So, it's all exciting.
Yeah, I mean, this is my first one actually going in person, so I'm excited for it. And it's one of, I always wanted to.
Really?
Yeah, I've been to the Olympia a couple of times. I went to Pittsburgh. I've been to a couple shows, but I've never been to an Arnold. But I was like, I got to go to this one. I got to go to this.
Yeah.
I want to go to, and it's honestly like a best athlete and fan experience. Even my coach did his first one in 21, Jarrett Crew, and he's like,
Nice.
this is like, John, they treat you like royalty. Like any athlete that walks away is going to always have a great experience. And it's harder to get into this show than the Olympia because it's all invite. But
Yeah.
I mean, to see you do it, I'm like, I remember your first win was the Arnold UK, and we're gonna get into that whole history about that. But
Yeah.
I wanted to kind of go from the beginning and to see so you started back in 15 or 16, I believe.
Yeah, so I started back in 2016. So this is actually, so the Arnold this year is exactly my 10-year anniversary of being in bodybuilding,
Oh wow.
to the date. So the first ever show that I did was a university-based federation. So it wasn't even, IFBB, NPC, or anything like that. It was just a university-based one. They do one a year, and it's at the beginning of the year for the UK and stuff. And it's the first weekend of March. So the first weekend of March was the first show that I ever did in 2016. And now, obviously, me coming back after this, everything kind of lined up so perfectly. I was like, it's my 10-year anniversary of being in bodybuilding. I need to do the Arnold's. I knew that date was very, very special for me. So I was like, I really, really want to make sure that I can beat the Arnold's this year. So yeah.
And so it was a different federation. I don't know if it was like IFBB. I usually saw them. They had different suits. They used to pose their arm out like that. It was totally different than what NPC IFBB was at the time. I do kind of, what was that one called again? Sorry. It wasn't IFBB.
So it's IFBB, it's IFBB Elite. So that was actually, I did IFBB Elite, and then actually the first show that I ever did was before IFB. It wasn't it was just a university-based one. So after I did the university one, it was then I went into IFBB Elite, which was also at the time the way to turn pro. So that was how you got into the pro league back then in Europe and stuff like that. So that was the only way at the time we were told, like how you could go to the pro league was through that. But I remember back in the day, it was like one, for the UK, there was only one way to go pro, which was the British finals. So you would have to do the British finals. I remember this so vividly. It would be like you do the show, you have to win your class, then you had to win the overall, and then you had to win the overall woman to get your pro card. So it wasn't just you get your at the time, this was a long time ago, this was years ago, before the split happened, and then the split happened in 2018, and that's when we got more opportunity to obviously get pro cards and stuff like that for Europe and the UK and stuff like that, which was cool.
Yeah. And so before all this, you were I'm looking at some history right now. You were a cheerleader you were a cheerleader. And
Yes.
I do you remember that? I couldn't find that video. If I scrolled down, I could find it with like your old posing. I don't want to make you go
Yeah.
cringe.
Yeah, I know. Honestly, there's so much. Yeah. So I used to be a cheerleader. I did cheerleading for like 8 years. So I competitively competed in cheer for 8 years. So I think that's where like my competitiveness like came from. I did gymnastics previously. I've done basketball. My dad would always say like I could never stick to anything. Cheerleading was the only thing I stuck to, and then I found bodybuilding, and then that's like the second longest thing that I've stuck to. But I was a very active kid. Like I liked being in, sports. I liked being active and stuff like that. So, but it was just, I would always get bored when I was a kid. So it was finding something that I actually wanted to kind of like stick to.
Okay, so initially, what got you like what got you into like looking at doing bodybuilding competitions? Because back then, bikini obviously started in 2009, so you're talking about like 7 years in, and then you had figure at the time, and you were like, were you kind of like, which one do I do? You had that competitive nature. I could tell like just by what you were saying, like I'm not that person that can sit still for one thing at a time. If I don't do something, I get bored, and so what got you into like
that was definitely me. That was definitely me. I think my partner got me into bodybuilding. So Max got me into bodybuilding. So I started when I was doing cheer. Our like facility was next to a gym, and it was like an old school bodybuilding gym. And I was a base, I was a back spot, so I needed to be strong to some extent to lift up the girls doing the stunts and all that type of thing. And I was a tumbler as well, so I had to be strong. So I was like, well, why don't I go to the gym and like try and like lift weights, get stronger and stuff like that to be able to do cheer better. So I went to the gym, started going to the gym, and I was like, oh, this is really fun. I enjoyed this. Then I wanted to kind of get into potentially becoming a PT, getting into the fitness world, that type of thing. And then I signed up to work a couple hours in the gym next door. My first day, I met Max, and he was like, obviously, you've got a great physique, all that type of thing. And he was talking to me about bodybuilding and stuff like that. And as we kind of hung out more and started to get to know each other more, he was so like a lot more into, fitness, bodybuilding than I was. And he basically showed me this entire world. Then the university kind of competition came up, and he was like, you should try it. Like, you should just try and enter and see how you feel like doing it and stuff like that. I dieted for 4 weeks. It was not the greatest. It was a very bad diet for my first ever diet. So don't ever do what I did. I learned how to pose through YouTube. Never do that ever. But that whole experience obviously then got me into competing now, and I absolutely loved it. I was actually very, very close to not stepping on stage that day because I was so nervous though. So I then ended up obviously stepping on stage, and then absolutely loved it from there.
Yeah, I mean, so even when all the athletic ability, you were thinking bikini. I don't think fitness was very popular, like the fitness division. I was thinking like a lot of people that do cheer, gymnastics, they would look at maybe going to fitness, but I don't know if did you see that? Was that at the time or no?
Yes, I did, but I think I really so who I used to see a lot of back in the day was, I saw Angelica a lot, Ashley Coatswater. I saw do you remember Heidi Summers, Buff Bunny? And Nikki Blackheader, like those types of girls I would see online on YouTube a lot. And I think that really, I was like, that's something I would like to be into. It was a little bit more I say feminine, but it was more my body type at the time. Like I had the
Like the
structure
athletic physique.
for bikini. Yeah, I didn't feel like I fit, fitness or figure or anything like that. And I think obviously I felt like that's where I belonged, like from the beginning. So I just kind of loved the bikini category from the start. But I loved the fitness and the figure like side of things because that really enticed me because obviously there was tumbling involved and all that type of thing. So, but yeah, it was just something about bikini that I was like, yeah, I really want to give this a try.
All right. So 2016, 2017, you're
Hmm.
you're you're competing, and at the same time, were you in school at the time? Were you doing going into P?
So, so around that time, I think I was, I had actually, when was it? 2016. 2016, I was competing. I think that was my first year of competing, and I did 8 shows. So that year, I was also trying to do university. So I went to university for international business and ended up quitting that year to pursue bodybuilding and fitness and like the online realm and stuff like that. So because ultimately I went to university because I wanted my own business. I wanted to like figure out what I needed to do to have my own business. And I think at the time that was my only route that I saw like I could go. Like I did college and I went to college for hospitality. So I did catering and hospitality. I wanted to be a chef. I wanted to be the woman Gordon Ramsay. That was like my career path that I wanted ultimately. So that was like my first thing that I wanted. And then I kind of, as I got into it, I was like, this isn't for me anymore. But that's kind of where I was in 2016. And then the end of 2016 was obviously when I then quit and said, hey, I'm just going to go full in and just try and get better, do this bodybuilding thing a little bit more, get a different job, and kind of like start things up online and stuff. So, and that's kind of where it all began in end of 2016, 2017.
Yeah, that is something I did not know, that you're trying to be like going into being a chef, culinary, like that
Mm.
is. We just like always critiquing. We always like critiquing, like this is good, this could be improved on, kind of like that's why, or you like no, I just like food. I like to cook.
I loved cooking. Like I've always loved cooking. Like I think my mum was like a good cook. Like my dad's good at cooking. Like my sister now, funnily enough, me and my sister have now swapped roles where she's actually working as a chef in like restaurants and stuff. And she used to be she used to want to be like a professional gymnast. She did rugby a lot. And she
Oh
wanted to kind
wow.
of climb the ranks in rugby, but she did have like an injury and stuff, so she couldn't pursue rugby for moving forwards. So it's like we both swapped roles. So, but yeah, I feel like I don't know. That was something I really wanted to do, like back in the day. Obviously, I did that course or college for 3 years, so I did level 1, 2, and 3, or sorry, 2 and 3. And then yeah, kind of went from there. And then I had a gap year for 2 years. Then I went to university, and then I was like, yeah, it's not for me. I've never been one for education when it comes to. I've always been an active learner. Like I like doing things, and like I've never been one to sit in the classroom and kind of like that's how I learn. I like to
Yeah.
learn through doing things. So I feel like it's weird now having my own business and kind of like sitting back and being like, this is how I built things up. Like that, I just went in and just did it.
Yeah.
I didn't have any of the qualifications. I didn't do XYZ. I just did it all through my own learning. And yeah, it's been really, really amazing to kind of like learn that way because it's developed me as a character and an athlete and just a person even more really.
Yeah, I mean, I think the good thing, I think the word you're trying to say is like just learning from experience and just going through it and like learning from mistakes and what could be done to be fixed and what's something I could do to improve on something, or like how do I get from A to Z, and how do I navigate through everything. So sometimes, education, yeah, I'm not saying anything wrong with education, especially with
No,
America.
no,
I
no,
feel like now it's
no.
like, I feel like you want to go into be like specialized, like you want to be a doctor, you want to be a lawyer, you want to be a
Yeah, of course.
engineer, you go for something that specializes for that. But if it's like anything else, I feel like now it's just based on learning experience, like how I learned anything about training. It's like you just like nobody knows what they're doing at first when they go to the gym. So it's like, that's why I
Yeah.
asked you at first, like, who was the one person you looked at first, and you're like, what are they doing? Like, how do I look like that? You kind of learn what they're doing, and then all of a sudden you kind of have that thing for your own. I think now it's kind of hard. It's like now everybody wants to do everything so textbook perfect,
Yeah.
and I think that's what the whole like science-based stuff and what's like, just like you have to just learn on your own and then come up with your own, because that's what I feel like how you go
Mm-hmm.
about it, and just pass on from there and just going from there. Because I feel like Laura Lee, she was asked like, how did she learn from training? She's like, I was 17. I just went to the gym. Like, how are you so good at RDL? It's like, because I wasn't good at it at first. And it took years of me developing and trying to figure it out and then to perfect
Mm-hmm.
that form. So that's sometimes I always tell people is like, everything's a learning experience. Just going throughout it. Even if it's a loss, it's like, it shouldn't be like I lost and now I'm a failure. It's like, no, it's a loss where it's like, I could take that and apply it. And I think Neil Hill, I'm sorry to go on a little, but Neil Hill was like,
No, you're good.
failure is not because you didn't win, you didn't lose. It's failure is because you didn't apply yourself. It's like you did not look and say, what could I have done to apply things better? It's, and one of my best college professors told me, because we had short answers and that would show you if you really knew the answer. He was like, how are you studying? It's like, oh, I read flashcards. I was like, well, so I read flashcards. He goes, John, don't memorize, apply. And that's what I've taken through life. And my statistics professor, even when I taught statistics in university, he would tell me the answer's in front of you. You just need to realize it. And that's something I've always will pass down to everybody, even guests, even athletes, anybody. It's like, you have to just take what you learn and then apply it. And then, okay, what could I do to improve on that? And I think that's one thing you've done with
Yeah.
navigating through life. And you've done very well. I mean, 10 years in, look where you are now. So, but
Thank
let's get
you.
into
Yeah.
you going for your pro card. It was in, so what was the national qualifier that you had to do to get to that Spain show?
So that was 2018. So at the
Yes.
time, that year, because there was the big split of so I was saying to you before, obviously there was a split between the IFBB Elite and the Pro League, or the NPC kind of America side. So they had a split. So that year was the only, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I might be completely wrong, I didn't do a pro qualifier, because that year they said you can go, because obviously it was like you can go and just do any pro qualifier show. It wasn't a case of you need to do a regional or anything like that.
Yeah.
That year you could just do a pro qualifier show. So I literally just did the Spain show straight away. So I did the Spain show as my first kind of show, and then that's the show that I won.
Yeah. And then that was the show that had the pro show in the next day, and you got to go and compete in that,
Yes.
and you took second in that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I did juniors that show. I did the juniors and the open. I got first place in both of those, and then I won the overall, which obviously got the pro card. So I think at that one it was also an amateur Olympia, so it was 3 pro cards that were given. So
Okay.
I won the overall of the overalls, and then I think I was like 1 point away from 1 or 2 points, I can't remember, away from first that for the pro show as well. So that was a really, really good weekend. That was a very, very good weekend, very successful weekend. Especially for me, I've been working towards, getting pro, I think for 2 years anyway. It was, it went so quickly. And then all of a sudden I was pro. I was like, wow, this has come around so quick. Oh my God.
Yeah, this was the video I found.
That's
I had to look back.
crazy.
It's the funny story how I actually found you. It was, I think,
crazy.
in July. I think this was in June of that year in 2018. And this video just popped up on my YouTube channel, and I never forget. I'm like, I was like, who's this? And I'm like, and then I listened to your video,
so crazy.
and I'm watching it, and I'm like, what is it? Like her voice? I'm like, wait a minute, is she British? I'm like, oh wow, she's from the UK, and she's you're my age. I'm like, I haven't heard of a British athlete since Dorian Yates. It's been a while. It's like,
Yeah.
and I remembered saying it from this point, like, well, I hope one day she comes a great pro. I would love to see what she does at the next level. And look where you are now, many years later. And we're gonna actually talk about the rest of 2018. But yeah, I remember your like intros. I don't think I could play it because of copyright issue, but
No, you're
your
good.
intros with like it was like the Flex Pavilion song, I think, like, right?
Yeah. Oh my god, I used to love. Yeah, that's so nostalgic as well because I used to really like love. I mean, I've even now gone back to kind of like editing as well because I used to edit all my stuff myself. Like I really enjoy like being creative and doing those types of things. So like yeah, that's so cool. You can even see it there. It says like I quit my day job on like the third one down. Um, not as like a big one, but like in the 14 weeks out one. Go up slightly there, and then just underneath there. So the third one in the description, you can see I quit my job. Do you see that
I quit my job. Yeah, I quit my
there
job.
in
Here
the
we go. Yeah,
playlist?
in the playlist.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was like I did like a series and stuff like that, and I was speaking. I remember I speak so much about stuff. I need to go back and listen to these because honestly, I forget how much I have on YouTube that I just put out there and just didn't even care. I was just like, let's just put it out there and just like share my journey and see what happens.
Yeah, and
So yeah,
I've
it's
seen it. Like I
crazy.
remember the teal suit, like straight hair. I'm like, that's why I know who Phoebe is. I'm like, oh, so
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that is throwbacks. That is throwbacks. But yeah, like I feel like it is crazy. Like that whole year 2018. Then I went on to do continuous more shows after that. I can't remember what other shows. And then there was a UK show I think after that. Then there was a Spain show. That was the year of the point system. So
yeah,
I came into the pro league only knowing the point system. I never knew when you're in at all until after that. But it was always the point system for me at the beginning, and then they changed it after COVID. I want to say maybe 2020.
yeah.
I
I
can't
think
remember.
they had point system from that time up until 2022, and then 2023 it was you win, you're in, and then they're going back to point system. And we're actually going to have that discussion because that's one of our questions. But I felt like they were just trying to get enough people on stage, but not have too less at the time. But now we've grown. Now we're worldwide now. Back in
Yeah,
2017, that Olympia, it was about 90% from the USA athletes. So now, but
yeah.
now it's like countries from outside the USA are almost overtaking USA athletes. I think, I mean, this last year, I think out of the people qualified, there's about 29-ish, and then the other half was uh, almost 30 people from US, and then the other like 40 girls were from outside the US, but there are some that are
I love
representing another
that.
country. Yeah. Yeah, so it's great. We've grown worldwide, and I appreciate athletes. And I've had athletes on here, and I'm gonna have those episodes from like Australia and from outside the US, and they go through it. They have it harder than us. So I appreciate it where it's
Yeah.
more competitive, where it's like only one pro card. I mean, you did an Olympia amateur where it's like only top three, top two in the overall get their pro card, but some of them it's like only one pro card. That's it.
Well,
It's like you
before
got to win
that, in
your
the
class. Yeah.
British, before the split happened, it was like I had to win three times on one day. If it was like you'd have to win your class as
Yeah.
as your height class, then you had to win the overall bikini, then overall woman in the UK. So it was just as hard back then that it was, moving forward. So I think it is hard, but I'm glad that there is more now opportunity for that. That's the main thing, that there is more opportunity, and there's only going to continue to be more opportunity. Like there's the UK Arnold's now, which is so cool that like that's in the UK, like that's like such a big event in the UK that yeah, we're really appreciative for, because that can bring in a lot of like new opportunities for a lot of pros and stuff like that. Like there's loads of Europeans and stuff like that at that show. So they're able to kind of, step on an amazing prestigious stage.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if this year do they not have the they don't have an amateur Arnold in the UK, do
No,
they?
so I think the last two they haven't. So the last one, the one in 2024 and the one in 2020, obviously
22.
2026 is yeah,
They had
yeah. So, but
21,
I
they had
think
22.
the
Yeah.
last two they haven't had amateurs. So I think
Okay.
the 2024 and 2026 they're not doing amateurs. I don't know if they will. Potentially might. I think that would be a really good gap in the market and a good step forwards for them to do amateurs moving forwards, like after. But we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, now back then there was only 6 height classes in bikini. Now there's 8. So I think in
Yeah.
17 I think actually, no, in 18 they added 8 height classes. So there's more people that can compete in on all, but I know the numbers are kind of low now, but it's still competitive. I feel like, and we're gonna continue about our history, but I feel like the gap between amateur and pro is like huge right now. But it's great that we're seeing people come into
I
the
feel
sport. Yeah.
like, yeah, I feel like it is, but we do get a lot of people that come in and, you see nationals, you see all these girls, they're so competitive at nationals. And I do think, yes, you'll see people come in, like there's less and less people coming in and going straight into the pro league straight away. But I do think that you have to, it's not a case of you have to earn your way in. I don't think it's that, but it is a case of you then, okay, now what do I need to work on to be a pro? Do you know what I mean? Like, I think
Yes.
that's the whole point. Like, it's supposed to be a big-ish gap. It's not supposed to be an easy transition to go to the Olympia, Like,
Yeah.
it's always going to be, that's the next step hard. Like, once you've earned your stripes and you're like, cool, I've got my pro card. Now I've got to work just as hard to get into the next level, which is the Olympia.
Yeah.
So it's not supposed to be easy. And I think it took me 4 years to get to the Olympia after winning in 2018. Obviously, it was a while. It took ages. And I think I know a lot of people are not upset, but like, oh, taken aback that the point system is back. But I do think that is the best thing moving forwards for the sport as a whole to keep the, what's the word I'm looking for? The quality of athletes
Yeah.
there. Don't get me wrong. Like the quality of athletes at the Olympia this year was incredible. The fact that there was like how many? 70 something for bikini?
There were 71 qualified, but there was like 66 on stage.
Yeah, but still, like all of those athletes, like I went through all of them. So like those athletes were all incredible. But it's then trying to pick those and be like, right, who was the best ones out of all of those? Yeah, I think it's good what they're doing for the Olympia with the point system for sure. It makes it
Yeah.
harder, yes, but that's the whole point.
I mean, I don't want to get into like this whole like banter and rant, but like I feel like
No, no, no.
you've gone through it. You've gone through it from the
Yeah,
beginning, and we're gonna get through your other heroes because I want people to know that you went through it for such a long time and what it took for you to be such a great athlete. Because I feel like you going through it made you what you are today, and
yeah,
like I've always said like there are levels to this from amateur pro league to like the Olympia level where you've gone through the top girls, you've gone through people who've won the Olympia title as well, so and you've gone through some people who've been top 10 as well. So I mean, I look at it where it's like the Olympia should be the hardest show to get to, but there's a lot of athletes
yeah,
in this show than others. So I feel like what the pro league's doing is like they're trying to navigate it to where it's like, listen, the cream of the crop is going to go to the top. That's always my good saying. Like the top
yeah,
10 girls, the top 15 girls, like that's the best of the best. I feel like it doesn't matter how many pros we have. Let's like we can create a lot of people pro, but only the best, like who shows up and who presents herself well on that stage, on that prejudging, that's who's going to be the best. I feel like that's what the way it's going to be. It's
yeah.
like, okay, but now it's like, how do we get how do we have a good amount of people on here to where it's really competitive, and now it's not like, I God bless the judges that they have to go through Tuesday,
I
Wednesday,
don't know how they do
Wednesday.
it. My goodness,
Bill Sibilia,
it's so much. Yeah,
Bill Sibilia, he's one of the Olympian
yeah.
judges. He judged North Americans from Tuesday to Saturday, and then there was a master show on Sunday, and I'm like, if that was me, I'd be dead.
I don't know
I,
how.
I,
Yeah,
I have it hard in
it's
classic.
hard.
Yeah. I have it hard in
Yeah,
classic
it's
because
hard.
classic physique with my height class with class B, we only have 4 classes, but class B has 40 guys in it on average and a national
That's
show. And I'm
crazy.
like, the other classes may have less, but like 40 guys in one class, I'm like, oh.
Yeah, that's
So
crazy. Like,
I
how are
can
you
say,
picking from that?
yeah. So now it's like I have to bring in like best. I have to make myself memorable. I have to hit my poses in time and then get off. And then when they go through rounds of posing, you better be up for that. That's what I feel like. We'll see who is up for that. And you've gone through it, and you've gone through maturing and growing your physique throughout the years. But let's get back into 2018. So you took fourth in Romania, and that was a big show. And then you did
Yeah, that was a good show.
the Kai Green Classic. Where was that in Europe?
That was in Italy.
Oh, okay.
So that year, I actually have let me get up I have all my stats on my phone. I don't know if anyone else does the same, that like they have all their kind of like notes or like shows that they've ever done. So I've done 41 shows.
Oh, wow.
in 10 years. So it's a lot of shows. So, but yeah, that year, it was 2018. That year I did, um, after, so yeah, I did the Spain show. That's where I won my pro card. And then the next show was the UK show. Again, another second. Then the big man weekend, another Spain show, got second again. I needed to, so actually that show I got joint first. And they had to do a tiebreaker and obviously on the spot. So all the scorecards were the same. So they had to pick who they wanted and they obviously picked the other girl. And that was my, if I'd won that show, I'd be going to the Olympia that year. So obviously I didn't make it that, which is disappointing, but obviously it builds up to, being the athlete I am.
So
Then after I
2019?
did,
Yeah, that
no,
was
this is
2019.
2018
Oh,
still.
oh, wait. Oh, wow. Because Big Man came earlier in
Yeah.
19. So I guess because they had the promoters and all. But
So there was a big man weekend show in July 2018.
okay.
In July 2018 as well. I think this was one of the first shows that they did because I remember it wasn't a thing like that it wasn't that big then. That was one of their first shows. It was quite a small show as well. I actually think there was only 5 of us. There wasn't many of us at that show.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there was a very small number of us. So, and then going on to that, I actually did Prague in 2018 as well. I got seventh place there. I think that Prague show was quite a popular one because I want to say Jen Ronzini.
Oh, yeah, that's one of my good friends. Oh, wow.
Maybe I
Um,
think it was her. I can't remember, but I know that was a really big show because a few people from the US came to that show. So
what's
I
her
can't
name?
remember who it was, but I want to say Jen Ronzini maybe did that show.
I know she did. I think she got like third at that one. I think the winner was she's Brazilian, lives in Switzerland. Priscilla. I think she won that one.
Oh my God! Yes, Priscilla. Yeah, Priscilla.
Yeah.
Yeah, she did that show. And then the show after that, I did Alicante, which is in Spain again, and that was actually where I met Maureen. So Maureen won that show in Spain in October of 2018. So she won that show, and I remember that was the show they did it backwards. So they didn't do the standard, first call outs. They actually did last call outs first. So I stepped off stage, and even me and Maureen were laughing about it. We were like, oh, we did awful. Like we thought we did, pretty well. And we were really happy and, we were, happy with how we looked and stuff like that because we were joking about it like before we went on. And then when we got off, we were like, oh, that wasn't great. And then someone had to run and tell us like, by the way, because I think Tim Gardner was judging that show. And he said, by the way, they've done it backwards. So you were actually in first call outs, but they swapped it for some reason. So, which I always say to my girls, never expect like first call outs all the time because you never know. They could all of a sudden just swap it and just be like, do you know what? I'm going to do first call outs last. So that's what Tim decided to do that year for some reason. But yeah. And then, from then it was kind of like fifth, sixth. And then we went into 2019. And then we did the Big Man weekend again in 2019 in April. And then that's when I started to go more abroad because I did a lot of European shows to start off with. And then I kind of spread my wings and was like, right, let's do US shows to get more feedback and stuff like that.
Okay. And before all this, was Adam your coach at the time when you started, or?
No, so I was coached by someone called Rob from Team LRF back in the UK. So that's who I won my pro card with and did my first pro season with. And don't get me wrong, it was a very good pro season, like a really good first pro season. Like we got our pro card together, obviously got however many top 5s with him. So we did really, really well. I think my thing was obviously just experience. Again, I was his first bikini pro, I think, and his first bikini athlete. And there was a lot we needed to learn. And I think there was a lot he needed to learn as well. But I wanted to kind of go to someone that obviously knew more about the division, which was Adam at the time. So yeah, and then I joined, and started with Adam in the beginning of 2019.
All right. And so you did San Diego that year, and That was what we were like.
Yes.
You did San Diego, and then big man, you did Puerto Rico, Toronto,
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
Miami. You won your first show at the
Yeah.
Patriots Challenge, and I remember seeing that. I was like, it was you and Jourdain. I was like, yes. I was
Yeah.
like, hey, it's that Phoebe, it's Phoebe from the UK. Like she did it, she won. And I
Yeah.
thought you were gonna go to the Olympia that year, but
Yeah.
I heard it was a point system. It was different, and I was like, what? So when
So
Massa won, like
that
I'm always rooting for
year,
you and Massa because I'm like I always feel like you guys should have qualified, but it was
I
different. Like
know,
where it's
I
like you had to
know.
win a couple, and I mean even now with the point system, someone can win a show, and then it's like they can win one show, but then it's going to be kind of hard for them to win another again. But you
Yeah.
won that. You won your first ever pro show, Patriots Challenge, after so many second, fourth, fifth places, and listen, every girl you went up against was their top girls, so you knew what it was like to
Yeah.
go through it. I mean, Etelin won a show. Marine won that Miami show. I can't remember. I think Beatrice won Big Man. I forgot who won Puerto
Yes.
Rico, but every girl, I'm
I
like,
think Jessica, not Jessica, sorry, Francesca.
oh, Francesca, the Italian.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. So you
Yes.
went through people who've been like multiple perennial Olympians, and so you're going through it. Like you could say with anybody, "Hey, I went through some of these top girls," and many years back, you look
Yeah.
back and go, "I went. Hey, I'm one of the best because I went through it." It's not just to say like, "Well, like no, like I went through some of the best athletes in the pro league ever," and
Well, it's
so
true, and I think it's
yeah, yeah,
hard. It is
yeah,
hard because I think people, I know people now qualify, or they want to qualify. I don't. The thing is, I think you do hear more people now like, no, I want to go up against the best of the best. Like there isn't people now. There's some people being strategic and stuff, and you got to get your win in. You know, like you've got to be specific with where you go to each show to kind of get these points and stuff like that. I've been there. I've been there. Like that's what I, sometimes had to do was, do I do this show that's a bit more popular, or do I do this show that has more chance of me winning and potentially getting those points? And I've obviously chosen the slightly quieter show. But I think nowadays people are like hyped to go up against the best of the best and like stand next to people to say, hey, what do I need to work on? And I do think that that's really good that people have that mentality, because it's important to drive you as an athlete. Because otherwise, like, what else are you going to be doing it for? Like, you get to the Olympia and then what? Like, you're still going to be stood up against the best of the best, but like, there's no hiding now. Like, you can't hide from it. So I think that year in 2018 and 2018 or 2019, it was just solely points. So you just had to get top 20. You had to be in the top 20 of the points. That was it. And then the top 5 from the previous year who were in the top 5 of the Olympia got an automatic invite. Then it was top 20. And whoever got in that top 20 list, it didn't matter if you won 20 shows or whatever shows, or however many times you placed or how many shows you did, you had to be in that top 20 list by the time the last final show had finished. And I remember I obviously won the Patriot show in 2019 in, I think it was like July time or June time or something like that. And I was like, yes, I finally cracked the top, because what people didn't understand, I think that year was the year where Attila literally was at the top. It was either Attila or Issa. And they had like 40 something points. Like they had so many points. And like, I think everyone had so many points already by that point. So to try and get into that top 20 was really, really difficult. And I'd already done quite a lot of shows to kind of even try and get near the top 20. And I think I got like 18th or something like that. I was like, yes, I'm finally in like the top 20. And then I went on to do Vancouver, and then I think I got 6th place, which again, 6th place doesn't get you points. It's obviously only top 5. So by the next weekend, I dropped down to 21st place. So it was like in and out, in and out, in and out. And it was so difficult. And then went on to do, I think I did Tampa, and I was like, all I need is 5th place for Tampa. And then I'm in top 20. And then I think it was a case of, potentially if one of the other girls didn't get 5th place or something like that, then obviously my name would be above hers. And like, I ended up getting 7th. So like, it was a no-go for me. So it was so hard. Like those years were really, really tough to kind of get into the Olympia. And I missed that chase. I'm not going to lie. And I think that's why I'm excited for this year, because I'm excited to have that chase.
Yeah.
Like back.
And I remembered, I think it was Ethel at the time, because Issa was top 4 from 18 and she was automatically qualified. So
Yes. Yeah.
um
It must have been so
Marine, I
well.
remember that was like the last chance. It was Marine, it was her last chance to qualify. So she did that Tampa Pro, like knowing it was going to be 30 girls in it, knowing there's going to be like previous Olympians in it. So she won that show and that got her qualified. So to seeing like everybody like going through like just like I want it. Like you're gonna see people now this year if they're like really close, like I want it. I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna go for a couple shows. I'm gonna go for points. And I think, there are people who've qualified on points that have been. People think, well, you qualify on points, you shouldn't be at the Olympia. It's like, you look at Jazzy and Ashlyn, their first
You
ones, they
can't say
qualified on points.
that.
Jen Dory, she didn't get her
Yeah.
first show until her third year, and she was 10th at her first Olympia and then 5th in qualifying on points. I look at some of the best
I think
athletes who've
it's so
done that.
hard.
It's just, yeah.
I think people have an issue with points, whether that be, I don't know if the males say that more so than anything, like the bodybuilders and stuff, but I think with the criteria like bikini and men's physique that have so much like a larger scale in terms of
Yeah.
like how volume wise how much more people there are, like it is hard like to win a show. Like it's not also embarrassing if you don't win a show because we're only here to get better. Do you know what I mean? Like it's not a
Yes,
case
of
of
course,
like,
yeah.
oh, you have to win, otherwise you're trash. Like that's
No,
not the
no, no.
case. Like it's a case of you're only going to get better moving forwards, and that's exactly why we're in and doing bodybuilding. So I do think that that's just people's opinions. We're allowed to have opinions of our own and stuff like that, and that's okay. But it's a remark that I don't think is needed. But yeah, and then 2020, that was the year of COVID. So a lot of the European shows, a lot of the UK shows, we didn't have any until October.
So we're gonna get into 20, but 2019, you attended your first Olympia, just as a spectator, and so
Ah,
experiencing that.
yeah.
So, I mean, even though you didn't qualify for that, you experienced the Olympia. So how was it for your first experience? At the time it was at the Orleans, which is coming back to, so full circle. So,
Yeah.
going into it, it's like, you get to see the athletes, see the expo. You went to I remember the video had some footage of the finals. So you going into that all, what was it for you? And then you're like, did you look at that and go, oh, I know what it's like, or you know what, I'm gonna get there?
I remember, I think at first I was disappointed that I wasn't obviously there because I was like, wow, like this is really tough because like I tried so hard and I was so close. Like I was so close to almost getting there, but I didn't make it. And like I'm disappointed, but also like I know I will be up there one day. And like it's nice to kind of like look back and like think about, mentality. And like even you asked that question, I'm kind of like resonating, like, oh God, like younger Phoebe was like, she was a fighter. She really loved, like, she really wanted to like get to where I am now. And like, I don't. Sometimes it's easy to not appreciate it as much, like because you just keep climbing. But I do think that it's really nice to kind of like look back and be like, wow, like I didn't make it back then, and like I do think it has made me the athlete I am now. And I do love the experience itself. I went for Rhea Gale, which is now obviously she's Miss Olympia, which is crazy. Like off her first Olympia was also 2019, and I went as her plus one. We went together. We shared the room. She gave me her plus one ticket. Like we shared that whole weekend together. So it's so crazy you saying like your first. She's also now like my posing coach under the posing portal. So it's crazy, like all these full circle moments and stuff like that. But yeah, like it was such an incredible experience back in 2019. It is really cool.
Yeah. And so I will say 2020, probably one of the hardest years. It was even painful for me to see. But going through it, like I
Yeah.
said, it made you who you are today. So there, because of the pandemic and everything shut down, a lot of the shows got canceled. I believe you attended the Arnold, and did you attend the Arnold that year? Yeah.
Yes.
And
Yes,
I
I
remember
did.
that
And that
photo
was the
with the,
last
yeah,
year
yeah.
figure. I think that was the last year figure was around, I
2020,
think.
that was women's physique. They removed
Because
women's body. Yeah. They
Rhea
had
did
figure.
the 2020.
Yeah, she did figure that year. Last time they had figure was 22, because now there's 3 men's, 3 women divisions. So
Okay.
yeah.
So the that year in 2020 was the year I attended with Rhea again. So we obviously I attended the Arnold's with her at that year, and I remember almost being that was the year that obviously they cancelled the expo, so they they didn't go ahead with the expo in 2020. They just did the competing side of things. I think they might have done strongman and stuff like that. I'm not too sure about that side, but I remember a lot of the competitors were freaking out because they were like, we're here, like everyone's here, like, and they said like we might not be able to do the show, we're not too sure what's going on. Obviously there's a whole pandemic thing, like the worldwide. I don't think anyone knew what was actually coming, really. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. But yeah, I think that year after then, so I think that was the first show of obviously the year, and then after that, then there was no shows in the UK or Europe region, and I couldn't even fly to the US or anything like that either. So I couldn't actually get over to any of the shows, even if I wanted to. But I did think I was trying to, because I remember I stayed in prep that whole pandemic. So I stayed pretty lean. We stayed at maintenance. I remember like we were just kind of prepping. I remember doing cardio, like walking and stuff like that. I remember doing workouts in my house. Like I stayed in prep because I was like, hopefully there'll be a show. Obviously no one knew how long this was going on for. And then I think the first show I did was in October in Spain.
Yeah, Europa. And then they made it where it was like top 3 qualified in that show. And I remember just watching it.
And do you know why they made that top 3?
Because there weren't many athletes qualified, or?
So I asked Jim Mannion because there wasn't many European or UK athletes obviously qualified because of that whole year. We didn't have any shows. So I messaged Jim Mannion and I said, hey, I have an idea. Would you be able to make Spain? And I just shot in the dark. I was like, you don't ask, you don't get, like, let's try. And I asked him and I said, would you be able to make the top 3 a pro qualifier, as in like a Olympia qualifier, so the Europeans get a more of a chance to go to the Olympia this year, because there hasn't been any shows this way. And he was like, that's such a good idea, and he made it because of me. And then guess who got 4th place? I got 4th place instead of 3rd. So it was a tough year. It was a really, really tough year, but it was honestly, again, something that just makes you fight harder for what you actually want to do, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was either, did they give people the option, because I know James Hollings had won that show, they gave people the option of going to that 2020 Olympia or going to the following year. Did they?
I don't know. I don't
because
think
James,
they
even though
did.
he won, because James, even though he won in the men's open, he was like, I don't want to go to the Olympia this year. I'll go to the one next year. And
next year. Well, maybe that was the case.
Yeah. And Raphael, he did want to, but then he couldn't travel and he got sick. So unfortunately,
I think later on, because that year the Olympia, when was the Olympia? Was it in November or
December?
So they might have decided that later, because obviously travel restrictions were quite tough, like still after that, because I remember there was certain countries you couldn't go in and out of and stuff like that from the States. So I think they might have decided that after, but I definitely know that top 3 was like you got qualified, because I remember all 3 bikini girls, I want to say it was Adriana, Beatrice and Francesca, went to the Olympia that year.
Yeah. So then after that show, you did the British Grand Prix and you're like almost qualified. You took 2nd there.
Yeah.
And so then you decided to end your season on that. And I mean, you were just like fighting. You were like, I want to get there. And you're like right there, one spot away almost in both the shows. And then coming to 2021, so you took a good off season, and then they announced having the Arnold UK and having the Arnold Classic later in the year. Did you apply? You applied for the Arnold UK. Did you apply for the US Arnold that year, or?
Yes, so every year I applied for the Arnold's US. I got denied 3 times. I say denied, but like obviously not picked, for example, for 3 years. So I remember each time, I think at the time it still is this now, like you have to have placed top 5 in previous 2 years, I think, of you competing. Is that correct? Or something along those lines for the US Arnold.
You've had to win a show. You've had to win a show, I believe.
So it used to be top 5.
Yeah.
It used to be top 5 because I remember, because I was applying. So I remember my first year in 2018, I applied because I was like, well, I can because I've placed in that top 5 before. So for the first three years, I applied. It's like every single year because every year I was getting in that top 5 spot, and I didn't, I didn't get in every single time for 3 years. And I think people look at me now and they're like, I know I saw a few comments of me getting invited to this year's Arnold's, and people were like, "Why is she on it? Because she hasn't competed, in 2 years." And I'm like, "But I've won the Arnold's. I've won the Arnold's before. Like I say earned my stripes, but I've kind of been through it and like done all these things to kind of get to where I am now." So yeah, I do think that it is tough sometimes because it is such a short list that of names that get given. It is very tough to be able to kind of pick who gets in and who doesn't.
Yeah, I forget those negative comments. Like, you've went through it. You've like, it's like I said, it's hard to get to the Arnold and the Olympia, and sometimes some of the top girls don't even choose to even apply or even choose to want to do it because I'd say if you can do that show, it's a great honor. And honestly,
It is.
a lot of the top girls, like I said, I think that another thing is, and I'm happy that the Olympia's in September. The gap between
Yes.
the Olympia and the Arnold's too close, where it's like you don't have enough time. It's like maybe you get 1 month off, and it's like back into prep because you don't know if you're going to get.
I think the only reason that was because of the what's it called, COVID, obviously moving it and making it closer and closer and stuff like that. Because I remember in 2022, that was my first Arnold, and that wasn't, obviously we'll get into that anyway, but that wasn't a great year for me. But then in 2022, the end of 2022 was my great, best showing for the Olympia. So, yeah.
But now, like, we haven't had the Olympia in September since 19, but it's been in October. But I feel like now that it's earlier and now that qualification period's earlier, it's like, this is a great time. And so we'll see more people apply and want to do it. So I'd say, and what I get upset about is someone just, and I'm not going to, maybe everyone's different, but what I get upset is some people who get accepted and then they decide to drop out. And this year, so far, no one's dropped out.
I've done it though. I've done it. Yeah, no, but I've done it. I did it in 2023. I will say, like, it is tough, and that's what I mean by, again, I know we're skipping history and stuff, but like that year of 2022 was really tough. Like that was the Olympia was in 2020. The Olympia of 2022 was in December.
Yeah.
So it was literally a case of no breaks, no nothing. I'd already been dieting since I think July that time to get ready for December. And then obviously I had not even that much time off, and then obviously going straight into the Arnold's, and I had to pull out at 4 weeks out. I was so tired, I was exhausted, like I was really, really, really mentally struggling. So I understand though the reason why, but I also understand your point where you're like, people shouldn't drop out, It's tough though.
Yeah, but I'm happy that now it's like it's going to be so with the Olympia early, the distance is the time frame. It's like it's like the time frame, and like I said, everyone's body changes, and like some people need to like take some really good time off, and I feel like this is a great time. So looking forward to the fall, not only this year but the following year, because now that we're more earlier. So in 2021, you got invited to the Arnold UK, and I'm gonna find that one where you won right here. Right.
Oh, that was my favorite video ever.
I know
like, exactly which one you're going to pick up as well.
And I was watching it. I was just like, "Come on!" I'm like, "Come on, Steve! Come on, please!" And then
I know. Yeah, I know. Finally, after 4 years, it took me 4 years to qualify for my first Olympia. Like, I think that's the one thing people forget, like how hard and how long it actually takes. Like, sometimes it does take that long. Sometimes you're not going to win your first show straight away or get qualified straight away. It does take that hard work. And I honestly think it makes it so much sweeter when you do have that like long period. You keep going. When you actually finally reach it, you're like, oh my goodness, I finally did it. And it's like the best thing ever. So I think that's why I was so shocked, because honestly, I was like, I remember in that moment in my head, I was like, please don't get second. Because I always got second, and I just didn't want second this time. So
let me see. I think I almost got it. Here we go. Was it in 24? No. Trying to find that post.
I think I posted it in 2025, the end of 2025.
Yeah. Wait. Here we go. Here we go. Sorry if I'm scrolling.
No, you're good. You're good.
Here we. I'm
So the
going
whole thing
down
is, I think
more.
the cover photo will be different.
Yeah. But so after winning that Arnold, you're qualified for the Olympia, and then you decide, why don't I try something different in the US shows? And so you did the Legion, you did Sacramento, and you did Iron Games, and you got to compete with Laura Lee.
Oh my god, yeah. Yeah, I did. I competed with Laura, I competed with Evie, I competed with who was oh yeah, in San Diego. Was it San Diego? There was another show that I did, a Spectrum show. I can't oh Laura Lee won that show as well. So the last two shows that I did, because I did three shows back to back after the Arnolds, and that was Legions. I think there was a show maybe in LA, and then there was another one in San Diego or something like that. So,
Yeah, Iron Games was, I think, San Diego, and then you had Sacramento, I believe, Sacramento Pro.
yes, that was the one. That was the one I did, Sacramento. So yeah, I did quite a few, and like yeah, we just kind of experimented and was like, right, let's see what we need to work on. Let's come in a little bit fuller, let's come in a little bit leaner. For the Legions, I think we come in a little bit leaner, and then Tyler said to come in a little bit fuller, so we went in a little bit too full, I would say. And then the last show, we kind of came in just right where we needed to be. But yeah, like it was a really, really good learning experience. And again, that's always the way it needs to be. Like you always want to try and make sure that when you get the win, it's not a case of the work's done, you keep improving and you keep kind of like doing changes and stuff, but it's a case of not changing too much because you run one for a reason as well. So I do think that that's always the hardest part is, yes, you want to show, but what do I then need to change? Like, do I need to change things specifically for the Olympia to stand up against the best of the best? Like, what is it that I need to change? So it is tough, but it's all a learning curve.
All right, I'm gonna continue to try to find it, but
No, you're good.
But I was going to say, so 2022, you did your first US Arnold. I know that was, so doing that one, even though it wasn't your best, having to finally experience that and finally to get to that stage, what did it mean for you doing your first one, and to be with like most of the top 5 girls?
I mean, yeah, that was a pretty crazy and like exciting. I remember obviously that was what my fourth year of applying to the Arnold's US, because I've applied every single year I've been a pro. So the first 3 years, obviously, like I said, I didn't get picked, and then obviously with that year after I won the Arnold UK, getting in, I was like, wow, this is incredible. Like this is insane. Like the fact that I get to stand up against incredible people was so like such a massive honor. Like again, I think people forget like how like prestigious the Arnold actually is. Like you have to, you're hand selected by, I don't even know who actually selects these athletes, but obviously you're hand selected by whoever obviously picks these people. And like it's 10 to 15 maximum people. Like it's not, and there's hundreds of bikini athletes or athletes that apply, I'm sure. So it is a very, very like a huge honor. So I was like so happy. The only unfortunate thing obviously was I wasn't my best, but I think after obviously that year, I think my last show was at what? When was my last show? I think it was November. My last show was in November. So it was again quite a close one where I, competed or been prepping all year. Did 4 shows really, really close, kind of like towards the end of the year. I think from October to November or December actually, I did 4 shows. Then obviously, very, very small break, and then the Arnold's again. So that was the only tough thing. But it was worth it because then we took that rest of that year off and we came back even better.
Yeah. So that year you won the Battle of Texas. We'll get to your first Olympia experience, but let me just found it right here. So I never forget this photo.
Oh my God, you went back. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, that was like my favorite photo. I remember seeing that on like online and stuff, and I was like, wow, that's actually crazy. Yeah. Oh, I really like that purple suit. That's such a nice purple. Yeah, I'm so like, it was just such a great like time. I think if you go up like the tiniest bit more, you'll see the video. I think that video.
Yeah, here you go.
Oh no, that was my trailer. Sorry, that wasn't a video. But that was my trailer that my videographer did at the time for me. But yeah, it was, God, it's so crazy. Oh, me and Evie winning as well on the left. That was me and Evie.
And how happy she was at the time.
Oh, I remember that. That was such a good, like, that was really nice because, like, I think, again, it was such a special moment because we're both from, UK, Europe. And I think we've always been, like, pushing for getting and cracking into that, like, US market. I think it's such a big thing for for international athletes. Oh, I love that photo. Yeah, it's such a big thing for international athletes to try and crack into the kind of US market. And it is really tough to do that because there
Yeah.
is so many competitive girls and amazing girls, as there should be. But yeah, I think that's kind of like the main thing that people want to kind of like try and do, But
And
yeah.
here we go. Is it this one?
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah. Oh, that was such a
you had the whole crowd like crying and cheering for you, and that was the
Yeah,
best part.
the video, like the actual original video was like screaming. Everyone said like you are like treasure. Like everyone was really, really rooting for you because like everyone knew like you'd been pushing so hard for it. So yeah, it's really, really cool. So it was an amazing time to be able to get that win.
Yeah, I mean, I will say this. I mean, I stand by this. I mean, everyone's like you're being biased. Like I think if you would have done 19 the year you won your first show, I think you would have been at least top 10, top 15 with what the girls look like.
Yeah,
I'm like, I think
maybe it's weird, like
but then
thinking
again,
about it, because like I look
yeah,
at my physique and I can't even remember the way that the physiques looks and stuff like that back then. But I do think that I personally feel like if I did, the Olympia back then and stuff like that, I don't think, again, you never know, you can never
yeah,
say that, but I do think that I'd never be the athlete I am now, like, because I feel like that really gave me like so much push, like when I was, it's the same now, like, when I think it's the same with now where 2024 wasn't a great year. Like it wasn't my best year. It was a good showing and I got fifth and I was happy. I'm really, really happy with that placing, but like it wasn't a good showing for me. It wasn't a great prep for me. And I think when things don't go the way you want them to, it gives you that fire. It keeps you kind of lit. It's the same with Laura Lee. She got sick, last year, which again is incredible at the Olympia, but she won the year prior. So she's coming back hungry, like everyone is. So I feel like it makes the journey even more exciting when like you have something to be working like towards, that you have had that kind of like almost like not failure, because it's not a failure in any way shape or form, but like that kind of like downfall where you're like, right, I need to prove myself and prove to other people now that I am better than this.
yeah. I
So
will never
yeah.
say like prove to people that it's like prove like yourself. Like I had a setback and I can find ways to I can
Yes.
improve on that because I had a guest who last year she was fourth at the Olympia in fitness, and then this year best physique she ever brought, but in the routine it didn't go the way she would, and so she's kind of upset about that. And I'm like, well, you've been like almost like she turned pro in 18 just like you did. Junior USA is just like my good friend Skylar Lanier in bikini, but she went through it. It took her 4 years, just like you, it took her 4 years to get to her first one. She's been a four-time Olympian, and but it's like 1 year, it's like it's not going to be like, okay, one bad year, well, what do you do after that? Then it's like, okay, I did everything. I was like, I brought my best in one part. What could I do to improve on that? And that's just bodybuilding. It's like improving everything in your physique, and it teaches you just life, and it's just life lessons where you can learn that and beyond that. So first Olympia, seventh place. So 54 girls on that stage. It was a long year.
That was the biggest at the time.
Yeah, I mean, going through it, I'm just like, I think Phoebe can be top 10, top 5, top 10 here. And I'm looking at it, and that was the 1 year they did 9 in the first call. I'm like, okay, this is a large number to go
Yeah.
through it because it took so much space. It was, and I always tell people this, like that year, I loved it because I attended, but I felt like I care about the athletes most of the time. I care about how the athletes look, and I think a lot of people aren't used to, having that many people on stage, and not many people are used to like the timing of the show being delayed, especially with classic and men's physique, and how many athletes were in those, about 60 people in both, and then you guys have to go. So I always feel bad. This is why I feel like they're gonna try to do something differently. But you, with your experiences, you were like ready for that. And so whatever happened. And so then second call it happens and you're in the center spot, and then it looks like you were going to be fighting for that 10th place spot. And then they brought everybody back. And so they were doing comparisons, and then you're moving up. And I was like, wait a minute, like something's happening here.
Yeah.
This is really great. I'm like, I think she's going to be in that top spot. Then they had the top 4 compare, and I'm like, I'm ready for the night show. And then they did the confirmations, and it's like, oh my goodness, Phoebe's doing it. And I was so happy. I was so happy. And you take 7th place in the world, and I'll try to find that here.
So that time, I remember I thought, I was like, I was the same as you. I was like, oh yeah, like I think I would have got maybe like ninth or 10th, you know, spot, like wise. Like I didn't have, you sometimes have an idea of where you would place potentially, but I was like maybe like 9th or 10th. And I remember looking, because they put up the scorecards that like literally once you'd finished, they put up the scorecards like immediately. Oh my God, yeah, that's I love these shots. These such cool shots. But yeah, like then they put up the scorecards, and I was like, oh my goodness, I got 7th place. So I remember I beat Janet Leu. That was her last year.
Yeah.
I can't remember who else there was.
Issa, Janet.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
Ramina.
Yeah.
Ramina. So
yeah,
two
I remember.
Miss Olympia champions. You surpassed them.
Wow.
And looking back, it's like, wow, it's not like I'm better than them. Like wow, like I actually.
No, but it's such an achievement.
Yeah.
It's just such an achievement. You don't realize it sometimes until you're kind of like, you know, doing it. And I didn't realize, I just completely forgot, if I'm honest. I'm like, wow. But yeah, like that's incredible. That's really, really cool. So yeah, I feel like that was a great year. Very, very good year. Yeah,
I love these photos Jonathan does.
I like them as well. I like the lower portion. I think they look really good. But yeah, I think that was a really cool year because I was able to again showcase off, like, you know, the difference in my physique and stuff. Yeah, it was great. It was really, really good.
So wait, I know how crazy it was. That was the first time they sent everybody back off stage, and so then they're calling everybody back. Okay, I want to see these numbers. And then when you heard your number, was it 21 at the time? You're like, wait,
21, yeah.
You were coming. What was your feeling when you're hearing that you're getting called back for like confirmations?
So they make you, I think they had quite a few people in like that little like the standing area, because obviously I think they were like first and second call out stand on this side, and everyone else that obviously didn't get that obviously can go if they wanted to. So we were stood there for ages, so the anticipation was really rising. And I remember just keeping my eyes closed, like, come on, like just in my head, like just say 21, because they were still obviously going through then the rest of the call outs and stuff like that. So like we still had to wait quite a while. So I was just waiting, and I was like, oh my God, come on. I remember Jess Wilson being backstage, and she was like holding my hands, and she was like, you got this. And I remember she was like, we were both like, come on. And they were like, right, we're going to read out numbers, and these are the girls that we want to come back onto stage. And then I was like, please. They said 21. And I remember screaming like, yes! And then like went on. And I don't know if that felt like, and now like looking back, I feel bad because like maybe what didn't get in or something like that, maybe like, I don't know, thought that was really obnoxious, but like it was just so like in the moment where I was like, please just call out 21. Please just say the number 21. And when they actually said it, I was like, yes. And then went up and obviously continued into the night show. So yeah, it was a really, really good first Olympia experience. Like it was probably my best experience I could have ever had, really.
Yeah. And I mean, getting to go into the final show that year, I mean, and yeah. I get to be in, and I got to see it. I'm like I was like, you did it. That was the one thing I got to say.
Yeah.
You did it. And so
yeah, it was such a good showing.
Yeah. So you were already qualified because you won the Battle of Texas. So then you take the whole year off.
Yeah.
You got 6th in the Hurricane Pro, and then 11th at that Olympia.
Yeah.
I felt like, I don't know, maybe, can you tell me what was going, like, was your body just not responding? Because I felt like it was...
My body was not happy.
Yeah.
I will say my body wasn't happy. Like we know we needed to kind of have a bit more muscle mass and stuff like that, but like my body wasn't. That was the year that I obviously, like I said before, dropped out the Arnold. So I didn't do the Arnold Classic because I needed more time off, and because the Olympia the year prior in 2022 was obviously in December.
Yeah.
I think less than 3 months later to do the Arnold just wasn't something that my body was like ready to do. And then even post show, post them saying like no, because I obviously still prepped and tried to get ready for the Arnolds until February. And then that's when I said that I can't do it anymore, like I can't take it. So then I continued to still prep until February. So then February onwards, all the way until I think we then started back up again in July. My body still wasn't right. And I will say, like, I probably chose more so than anything to pick business and prioritize business over being an athlete that year. Like, I traveled a lot. Like, I went to Canada for like a couple weeks before that, did posing clients, posing things, and like things with my sponsors and stuff like that. And then obviously came to the US after that. My experience in the US, obviously, when I stayed there, wasn't the best. It wasn't the same as like 2022, so it was a little bit more. It was a little bit different. So where I was staying was really far away from the prep center. Like it was a very stressful situation. I will say that. So going into all these shows, it just didn't feel right. Like the prep didn't click the same as what it has some in the previous years and stuff. So I won't say that was just obviously it was me. It was other things. Like I feel like when prep happens, you have to have like a stress-free environment as well. When there's stress and stuff like that going on, it can ruin your physique. It really can. So I think that was probably one of the harder points. But yeah, so that year wasn't great. And then I think again that kind of then fed into, okay, I want to come back. I want to be better. I want to show off my best physique I can do. But I think by that point again, I still needed more time. I think what athletes don't understand is that your body needs longer than a couple months off. Like I think that was when I realized, like, yeah, I need longer than this. Like I need longer time away from stage to actually fully be bringing my best. If I want to be successful, because I think I had that really long off season going back before the Arnold 2021, and that was a very good showing for me. And that was like almost a year plus off stage because of COVID, but it was like a good time off, and I was like, yeah, I need time off. So 2023 wasn't great, and then that took us on obviously to 2024.
And then you did the Arnold's that year. But I felt like going into 23, with how you did in 22, you were getting more into like the business side. You were traveling a lot. You were doing seminars. You were at shows, presenting awards. You were doing a lot great for the community, getting booked out all over the place. So you're going into like the business side of things. But I feel like when you have attained, I mean, I consider you an elite Olympian or an elite IFBB pro, like top level, like a tier 1 pro. So when you're winning those opportunities, it's kind of, and being a great ambassador for the sport as well, representing the bikini division, and your fans love you and coming out and doing all that. So you're doing the business side of things where it's like, but at some points you're an athlete at the same time, but it's like one thing's going to take over the other, and you got to be like, there's got to be a time and place where it's like, we're this many months out, okay, we have to think ahead and start getting to that prep. But I feel like you're doing maybe I'm not wrong to say this, I feel like you're doing a whole lot, and then it was kind of like do I have to listen to my body? Like, am I in this? Like, was it kind of more mental, or was it just like more physical, like you were out of it in 23 because of all the going all over the place and going into like to traveling, and you're getting opportunities? That's great. You're going into like the business side. So then after career, you have something to do, because I always tell people, like, yeah, when you're in that 30s age, it's like you got to take opportunities now. You keep saying no, you'll never get it. I look at Sid Gillen, where she now has a show, she got married, and she kept saying no all these years, and then after she got her 8th title, she's like, I feel like this is a good time for me to stop, because like, I could keep going, I could keep being that athlete, but then if I keep saying no to opportunities, that'll never happen, I'll never get that again. And she's getting the opportunities now. So obviously when those are presented, you want to kind of think, well, what's going to be long term? But I think what you did, even if it was 11th, place, it was a good physique. That it was a good
Which
physique.
saying,
But
even
yeah,
saying, oh, I only got
yeah,
11th is crazy, right? Like 11th is still incredible. And like, considering I've only obviously been to the Olympia twice, like to get top 15 in both of my Olympias is really, really good. So like, I'm very
yeah,
happy with that. I think now moving forwards, I do think that 2023, yeah, I took more opportunities. I wanted to grow the business more. I did more. I pushed myself out there more. I think my body and mentality wasn't, like, I did put too much on my plate. Like I had too much on my plate, I think, that year.
yeah,
And I think, which is also okay because it also has gotten me, the connections and the networking and stuff like that I needed, but also it then kind of fell athlete wise. But I think now that was where I then kind of found, okay, how do I balance this? Because again, it's all experience, right? Like I'll never know until I try it. I don't think, and I always stand by this, I don't think you have to be just an athlete or just a businesswoman or whoever. Because you see Ashlyn, for example, she's top 2 in the world. She has a whole online business. Like she has clients that she has to cater to. Jazzy's the exact same. Like I know Laura Lee has her own platform. Like we all run our own stuff. So I do feel like that we can't all just be sponsored and just be athletes all the time. Like
yeah,
we'll figure out and compromise where, like for example, like the 10 days, no, yeah, 10 days before the Arnold, I'm not doing any posing clients. And my clients know that. And like, I'll still do posing assessments and stuff like that and message them and get back to them, but no posing sessions because I need to make sure that I'm getting enough sleep in. I need to make sure that I'm obviously focusing on prep. But for now, I can do posing sessions. I can get back to my clients. I can do these things. Like, I don't think that unless I think it depends on person to person because I'm very business oriented. So I don't ever want to put my clients in the back burner or anything like that. So I will always put them first as well. I try and have that compromising point where I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do what I can for my athletes and do what I can for myself at the same time. Like there is a middle ground, I feel. But I think for me, it's knowing what that middle ground is for me. Like I'm not going to go and do a posing seminar a week before show or like a posing seminar like 2 weeks before show because that's going to take away so much of my energy, which is going to take away from my training.
yeah,
So it's knowing how to handle it. And I think as you get into the pro league or as you get into being an athlete or a pro athlete or just an athlete in general, you learn what you can handle.
yeah. I mean, that's going to get into our questions now. So we talked about your competing, we talked about things, and this is such great conversation. So some questions that I had to ask was, and it's going to go back to some topics we kind of touched on. So seeing your journey from an international pro to you're doing something that like only 1 to 5% of the world can do, being an entrepreneur, being a top Olympian, what's something that what you're doing that someone can learn from, and like how, like especially being on more on the international, but what's something that they can learn from? Because I've always mentioned you in like in a lot of my recaps where it's like you and some of the European
Thank
pros,
you.
they come here and they compete because they want to improve and they want to get out there. So what's something that you could pass on to like anybody international?
I mean, if I'm honest, like just keep going in terms of like and keep traveling to different kind of continents or places of the world, honestly, because I think yes, I came over to the US, but I still did European shows. I traveled and like got in front of multiple different athletes. I think that was my main thing that I think that made me develop as an athlete more was I was in front of different lineups. So obviously I think there's only so many shows you can do in Europe until you start to get up against the same kind of lineups and stuff like that. And I mean, it's kind of the same for the US, but like not because the US is so big. So I think each week you'll be up against so many different levels of people and different physiques. So it makes you level up even more as an athlete because you're like, cool, I'm going to stand next to someone that has maybe a little bit more glute density, more shape, more roundness, whatever. What do I then need to work on? Because she will show, if I'm stood next to her, it will then show what I need to work on. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So I think there's only so much you can do in Europe because you'll be in front of the same people over and over. So it's just branch out. Really, don't be afraid to just branch out and keep branching out. Like don't be afraid to do 3 back-to-back shows. Like I literally did that my first round of American shows. I literally just booked 3 back-to-back shows. I did Puerto Rico, Toronto, and Miami straight away. I was like, look, let's just do them all back to back, just so I can kind of get to see what I need to work on. So yeah, that's what I would suggest.
Right. And what's something like, it's like, for instance, someone who may not have sponsors and wait, like for instance, outside the US, it's like hard to get, for them to get like sponsors, get that support. And, you know, I could see how it's difficult for international pros, especially in South America, where maybe they only have one show a year. So what is something
Yeah,
that they can do to like grow themselves and grow their, grow their following, and so that they get that opportunity? If it's like they don't have
yeah.
much, what's something that they can do to like get that exposure?
Yeah, I mean, the hard thing is like I don't. Yes, I'm sponsored, of course. Like I have like sponsors, but most of my shows, like, for the however many couple of years, I paid all myself. Like no one paid for any of my flights, no one paid for my supplements, anything like that. I think you have to learn to kind of like, I say work hard because everyone works hard, of course, but like understand that not everyone has that opportunity, or think that like, oh, everyone gets things paid for. So yes, for someone to do something, I think exposure wise, honestly, putting yourself out there, I think being authentically yourself, and honestly, I think YouTube is probably the best way to do that. What I've really tapped into or seen more so, like more things happening, is like YouTube is the foundation of what people want to like, where people want to go to know what people are getting up to in terms of like what is your day like, what are you training like, what is your food like, what's your food intake like, what's your posing routine like people, if they follow you, they'll follow you on YouTube. They'll want to know what you are doing from day to day life. And I think that seeing and showing that off, and people like building a strong community that actually really value what you do as an athlete, is something that is so like that is then going to bring in sponsors, because you have a community that trusts you. So then when you then get exposure from companies that are like, hey, we want to give you some supplements and this and pay you for XYZ if you like them, they are going to trust you to give the completely fully like full opinion on those supplements or clothing or whatever, because they followed you from day dot. So I do feel like it's hard to put yourself out there, but I do think just putting yourself out there from the get go and just showing your journey is like the best way to get network and get sponsors and stuff like that moving forwards.
Yeah. No, that's a really good take. So about you, you lived in United Kingdom. You're almost like you were born and raised in the United Kingdom in Worthing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Did you live in other countries in Europe, and and what got you to like Dubai at the time? That's a really good question. I have to ask, because I don't know
Yeah.
how it is in the UK. Obviously, weather's not the best, but yeah.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love the UK. I love
Yeah,
going
yeah,
back
yeah.
to the UK, and like I've lived in Dubai now for 5 years. So like it's literally coming up to our 5 years. Well, it's actually been our 5 years last week. So we've been here for 5 years now. But we actually came on holiday. So I've lived in the UK my whole life. I was born and raised in the UK. Like my dad's from Ghana. He came over to the UK like 30 plus years ago, which is where he met my mum and all that type of thing. So, but I moved to Dubai. Originally, we actually went on holiday during COVID. So in COVID time, we didn't actually go during COVID, but in COVID time, it was Max's birthday, and I gave him a surprise trip to Dubai in December time, because I was like, I want to take him away, but like can't fly anywhere. Like there's nowhere to fly to at the moment. Like there's nowhere to go or anything like that. And I was talking to one of my friends, and she was like, well, Dubai's open right now. And this was like back in, I don't know, this was June of 2020. She was like, they're open at the moment. The flights and stuff are still flying in and out. Like maybe buy a flexi flight for December time, just in case. But like you can come and visit us in December time. And I was like, oh, amazing, cool, perfect. So we both went there. And that's when the third lockdown happened, when we were over in Dubai. So it was either we come back and we're stuck again, because that lockdown lasted another 5 months, or we stay in Dubai just for a little bit longer at least, because Max at the time, he was a window fitter, and he was working in labor, and he obviously didn't have any work. So he was like, well, I was fully online by that time. So he was like, you can do anything. I don't have to go back. There was no reason I needed to go back to the UK. And he was like, well, I can't work now. So we may as well just stay for a little bit longer. And we realized that Dubai is a really great place. Like it's a really good place for business people. It's a really good place for people online, people that are online, people that are nomads. So we were like, why have we not had a look into potentially being like trying to live here? And at the time, that was when I was starting the posing portal. The posing portal was actually going to be launched in February or March of 2021. So I was like, I either set up the company here or I set it up in the UK. So I decided, and we were like, we wanted to figure it out. We really, really liked Dubai. So we were like, screw it, why not? Let's set up the business here. So we set the business up, and then the rest was history.
Okay. All right. My next question is, from your show experiences for the past 8 years and your time you competed against some top girls who are Miss Bikini Olympia champions and pros, did you have that mindset that you could ever believe that you could be a top tier Olympian and possibly win the Olympia title? Because I think one video I recall was with Laura Lee. You're like, I don't know, you said something along, don't quote me on this if I'm saying it right or not, but you said something along the lines that I wouldn't believe I could become the Miss Bikini Olympia. I don't know if that's like in my mind, but where do you see, like, does that mindset kind of change? Like, I believe I wouldn't be a top pro, but then saying I could become the champion, is it different now versus back then?
I think it's definitely different now, where I don't think I ever truly believed in myself like enough for it to actually happen. And you are correct. I remember on one of our old podcasts, I think I did say like, I don't feel like I could ever win or get that. I can't remember the exact phrase that I said, but I do remember saying it. Like, I don't think I could ever, win the Olympia. Maybe get and be a top level pro, but like, I don't think I could ever win the Olympia. Whereas now I do truly believe, like, with the kind of experiences I had, the work ethic, and now actually seeing my body, the way that it's responding, and the level of kind of density that I needed to have, because I've always been a dense athlete. I've always had the muscle, but there was something always missing. There was always something missing with it. And I feel like that final piece of the puzzle has actually been clicked. And I think with now working with Jamie, I do feel like that is potentially possible to actually go ahead and get top 5 to win the Olympia. And like, I have had conversations with myself, because no one from the UK for bikinis has ever gotten into the top 10, let alone even won the Olympia for bikini. So for me, that would be a huge history maker. So, and I can see myself doing that. So I haven't actually disclosed this, or I've not even said this, so I'm now oversharing, but this is something I've had a lot of conversations with myself with this year, to say that I want to be that person. I want to be that person to win the Olympia and be the first UK athlete to do that for the bikini side.
Yeah. I mean, you're seeing now Rhea, who's the first from the UK.
Exactly that.
And then you're seeing Michelle Mensah, who's in fitness. Trying to think of the other divisions, but I don't know.
You've got Ryan Terry, and you've got Samson. Obviously, I know he's not from. He's based in the UK. I know he's from Nigeria, but like he represents the UK. Like, there's so many athletes from the UK, and I love that we see such a huge market in the UK now. Like, we've got 4 Mr. Olympias that were last year that won in the UK. Like, is that not more than the US? Because there's only, how many divisions are there?
I think now there's 12, and then there's 7 female, and then four men divisions. Well, Flex Lewis is from Wales, but
one of them, yeah.
And then you have what's his? I'm trying to remember who. One Punch Nas, he's a top guy, and
Neil again.
Niall, yeah.
So many athletes, are coming up from the UK, and like, I do think that then gives you that kind of like hope from the UK, because again, like, I think for me, again, it's kind of that I could never do that, because I'm from a small town in the UK. What am I going to achieve? Like, right? Like, there's not much. I'm going up against all these girls from the US, from all these places in the world. There's no way someone from the UK could do that. And now, like, you've got Kerry Sexton, who we used to train together at the same gym. Like, we're from the same town. We've both been to the Olympia now. So it's like, I think it's nice to have this open mind and like think like this now, because I've never had these feelings before. Because I think before it was always, I want to win, but I also still have that little like self-doubt of me thinking that I can't. And actually, I think I can. Like, I do think I can. And I think the good thing with bikini is, like, or the exciting thing about bikini, honestly, is that there hasn't been a straight winner over and over consecutively over the years. Like, there's not been someone that has won it the same year, day in, day out for the last couple of years. It's been, Jen 1 year, then Maureen, then Laura Lee, then, it's been mix and match. And I do think that that is exciting because it is anyone's game.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, people. There's two sides to that, and kind of want to ask you, like, do you want a reigning champion for many years, or do you feel like whoever shows up best is like, and it's like, I like, it's even in open, it's like a revolving door. Because back then, if you look at bikini, if I would just say who was dominant, it would be like Ashley K, it would be Angelica, because they won, a couple years straight. But now it's kind of like since 2019, it's been, you know, we have 11 Bikini Olympia champions. And if you
That's
think
what I
about
mean,
it,
and that's
yeah.
why it's
And now
exciting.
there's, and people would say back then, like, you lose the title, you'll never get it back. But then you see Jen lose it, get it back. She was the first one to do it. And then you see Maureen do it and get it back. So it makes it more exciting. It makes it more like, it makes it more competitive to where, people will walk
Yeah.
in and go, there's 2 points of view. There's one people go, well, Phil's going to win, and we all know it's going to
Yeah.
happen. It's like, it's this Phil, whoever shows. I'll never forget 2013 when it was, they did 2 rounds of posing, and then Steve Weingart goes, Phil, go back in line. And they just, like, it was a one and done on Friday. And that's what got me into watching
Oh
bikini,
my
was like, oh man,
goodness. That's so funny.
I never forget when I started watching bikini, when Natalia Miller was defending her title, and that's when Ashley won. And she's a small town girl from Akron, Ohio. She built you're a small town girl from Worthing, UK, but you made a life, you made a legacy. That's one thing I could understand.
Yeah.
And I didn't know who Ashley was at the time. I'm like, because going into it, it was just it was India Paulino, who beat every Miss Olympia champion. It was Natalia Mello and Amanda Latona. And they didn't mention Yashira, who won Pittsburgh and New York. They didn't mention, I'm actually going to talk about that, but they didn't even mention that she got fourth and anybody else. And it's just like, you care about 3 people and nobody, and like, there are 22 girls, you care about 3, you don't care about 19 of them. There are a lot of girls that come from all over, and they've won good shows, and they can be contenders to win. And what happened to those 3 girls? They wound up 4, 5, and 6. Ashley won, Yashira took second, and Stacey Alexander took third. And when I was seeing the pre-judging, I'm like, who's number 11? The one in the green suit. And I spent $45 on that pay-per-view. I'm like, 11. I'm like, and after pre-judging, I was like, let me see an Olympia website, like 11, 11, 11. Ashley Kaltwasser, Akron, Ohio. I'm like, what's so special about Akron, Ohio? And
Yeah.
she won. I'll never forget when she was crying and she won at the time. And when she had the trophy in her hand, she's like, I don't know what to do. And she's like, just post the pictures. Like,
Yeah.
okay. She had the trophies because of thumbs up. I never
Oh, thumbs
forget
up,
that
of
photo.
course.
But you built this life. You built this, I would say, legacy, and this journey that people are going to see and follow. And they see what you were like 10 years ago. And you have a body of work. And I always tell people, like, they see someone, they turn pro, they go to Olympia, but it's like, they don't see the journey of what it took to get there. They don't see, like, this person was trained for many years. This person, this has been at this for over a decade. But I look at you, you have that body of work, you have that experience from all types, you've evolved, you have adapted, you adjusted. And I think that's what makes you such a great athlete, and such a great ambassador and great person for the sport, that I think many people are going to look back and go, see, and they're going to even reference you and say, see what Phoebe had to go through to get to where she is today. It was a
Yeah.
long journey, and people can learn from that. And just not just in the bodybuilding part, but just in life. It's like, if you want something, you have to work for it to get to it. I mean, if you look at me when I was playing football, I mean, it's American football is different, but every county is different in where we live. It's like, I had to work my way up to get to the varsity level. I was not what they call swing, where you're a starter on junior team and then a backup on the varsity team. No, I was a freshman, because we had freshman football, and then we had JV, and then we had straight varsity. But I had to go through guys who were playing at the college level, who are, one of my teammates went to the NFL. He was a first round draft pick. But I went through that for many years. And I tell people, I went through that. And even me being in classic physique, I had to work my way up. I'm in the biggest class of any national show, with over 20, 30, 40 guys. So to go through that, you have to be top 2 or win your class to turn pro. people see that part of the journey, like, hey, he went through it, and it's something like if he had to go through it, I'm going through that right now, I can learn from that. And I think anybody international, Phoebe, is going to look at your journey and see, well, why is she winning shows in US? Well, why is she one of the best? Because you had that journey, you had that from the start. You like, I know I can qualify, I know I can be one of the best. And and then people see how you got to where you are. Because I think, going to Olympia, it's kind of like some people walk out some disappointed. And even when I had Daraja, it's like, well, you could look at that you can go to that finals on Saturday and you can go, oh well, this isn't for me. Or, you know what, I didn't like how I did this year, but I'm going to work hard, I'm going to come back, and I'm going to get to that final stage. I will be on that final stage. I will move up from there. So I wanted to get back to our topic earlier, with the gap between amateur, pro, and Olympia level. It kind of has to do with where you had to go through. Do you think that, because you're not seeing any new pros coming out and they're winning shows, it kind of feels like they're going to have to take their time because they want to come into a show and be a contender to win now. Do you feel that the gap between the the pro league and then the Olympia to Arnold level is getting bigger and wider every year, or it's just very competitive?
What to Olympia and Arnold specifically for
Like competing as in the
pros
IFBB pro, yeah,
or
competing in the pro league, just when you're a pro, when you're a new pro, or how many, like a veteran pro, is the gap between that and being at the Olympia level getting harder? Is it, or is it more in like US versus outside US?
I think no, I don't. I think it's kind of a level playing field. If I'm honest,
Yeah.
like I think like we said before, the Arnold is such a separate entity, not from the IFBB or anything like that, but like a separate entity because it is you can't control really who they pick. So
Mhm.
I do think that in itself is quite difficult. But like normal shows to versus the Olympia, I mean, yeah, it is a big difference. Like just doing a normal level pro show to doing the Olympia. I say with the Arnold's actually, yeah, I understand what you mean now. Yeah, but like it's supposed to be. It's
Yeah.
supposed to be hard. Like it's supposed to have that big factor of like, oh, I'm going up against Ashley, Laura Lee. Oh my god, they've gone off the top of my head. All the other girls, like all the
Maureen.
other girls, like Maureen, all these people. It's supposed to be hard. Like it's supposed to be tough to get there. But you should also be excited for that. Like I'm so excited to stand up against them and be next to them with the physique I have now because I want to show, I'll show myself that I've improved. And see where I stand, And I think that's always the best way. I think I watched Ashlyn's YouTube the other day, which I love watching her. I love watching everyone's YouTubes. But her and Cash were saying, like, I want everyone to bring it. I want everyone to be on, and it looks like everyone is on, and that's exactly how we want it to be. That's exactly how I want it to be. I want to go up there and say, yeah, I was my best, and I went up against the best of the best at their best. Like,
Yeah.
that's exciting. Not saying that it wouldn't be exciting if they weren't their best, but regardless, like, I want to go up against them when they are their best.
Yes. I really like like that competitive nature in you, in that competitive, like,
Yeah.
I want to go against the best, to be the best. And so with this new point system, this is my next, with this new point system, I mean, you had to go through it, trying to win two shows. What is the strategy to like going from after the Arnold to like this season, and how you feel like you're going to map out the season? Do you have like a show list of mine? I'm hoping you go to Pittsburgh because I'm going to be there. So
We we haven't decided yet. We are waiting. I think after the Arnold's US to figure that out and see what we want to do. Obviously, we've got the Arnold's UK 3 weeks later. There are shows obviously in Europe. So you've got the Two Bros Pro Show, which is a UK show. You've got FIBO. You've then got other shows like Wasatch or San Diego. So like honestly, we're deciding. We're seeing what would be a better run, what fits in like with us a little bit easier. Is it easier to stay in the UK/Europe and do shows then, or is it better to go straight back to the US? Like we're not sure yet. So we're gonna figure that out kind of closer to the time and then go from there.
okay. And so
I
I'm
do
very
want to do
curious. Yeah.
Pittsburgh though. I didn't mention that. I have never done Pittsburgh or done New York before, so I would love to do that. So if that is in the schedule for this year, like I would really, really, really love to do that.
And you know what the best part about Pittsburgh is? The same judges from the Arnold and the Olympia are in it.
Yeah,
That is the
exactly.
one thing.
So
And they
that'll be
go
a
on,
good one to
and you
do.
guys go on Sunday, so you guys are not going to be. It's not going to be like
Oh, it's on
a big show.
Sunday.
Yeah. So
Oh, I
some of
didn't
the
know
men's,
that. That's
some of the
cool.
men's divisions go on Saturday, and then most of the female divisions and classic physique and fit model will go on Sunday. So it's a 2 day
Ah,
show. So I feel like it's much better versus having all like 8 or like 10 divisions in one day, where it's like you're waiting all day.
it's gonna be a
So
lot. That's a
yeah.
lot. Yeah,
Um,
that's gonna be good.
do you feel that with your show's experience, and this is another question, do you feel like with your show experiences, you're up for anything with this, like timing on stage, how much time you get for individuals, like to do, like if it's 45 seconds to a minute, do you feel like your experiences have helped prepare you for anything random that comes your way? And how do you peak for that, and how do you prepare for that?
What are you talking about? Just any time on stage, or just posing wise?
Anytime on stage where it's like you're going up at this time, or like you have to be like, or it gets delayed, or for instance, like okay,
Yeah,
you only get 45 seconds, you only get this much time.
yeah. So I think yeah. Over time, like you expect there to be just a little bit delays. Like sometimes, like obviously, yes, they do their best to kind of start the show on time and make sure the pros go on the time, like they stop the amateurs show and stuff like that. Sometimes it's not exactly on time, and that's also okay. Like things happen, so you do have to expect obviously delays and things happening. And again, it's good to have your coach not there, but like a good coach to kind of figure like help you through, like guide you through that. So I do think that I've obviously, I've experienced a few things where things have been delayed, things have been in the evening instead of the morning, like it's been different, like peaking and stuff like that. And I mean, every show is different, so it's hard to say like what do I do peaking wise, because I think most of the time it depends on where I'm at in terms of my body, and when the show is and all that type of thing. So it just depends. But all you can really do is just kind of go with the flow in that moment. There's nothing you can do to change that really, and be like, complain or anything like that. There's no point. So you just have to adapt and learn how to adapt. That's really what I've had to do, because again, it's the same with like routines. Like sometimes they'll say, hey, just go out there and do front pose and back pose, and that's it. And you're ready to like do your routine. And they tell you to do front pose and back pose, and you're like, oh, damn it. Like, what? So yeah, you got to go out, hold your front pose for a little bit longer, transition a little bit slower, hold your back pose for a little bit longer, turn around, hold the front. Like, it's all these things you adjust and adapt as they're happening in the moment. And it's hard to do that, but with experience, obviously, it makes it easier.
Yeah. All right. So my next question for you to ask is, from 2024 to 2025, um, what were you doing differently in to like, actually, what was I to say? When did you what were you doing differently, and then you decided to like find the best coach and go and land on Jamie? So was it kind of like what coaches you connect with, what you feel like works for your physique, and what helped you land for Jamie? And do you feel like was it enough time for for her to know your body and go, I think this person's the best coach for me right now?
Yeah. So I have actually been, so as soon as 2024 ended, I started working with Jamie in May 2024. I just didn't disclose anything because I wanted
Oh,
it to
okay.
just be, I'm working with her, and like, I don't want any other opinions, because you know how it always is. Like people talk, and that's okay that people talk, but like, I just didn't want any noise. I just wanted to do me and like just solely work with Jamie without any noise. So I just said to Jamie, like, look, obviously I know you can tell people that you know of and stuff like that, but like, and I know people will know, but like, just don't announce it. Like I don't want to announce it. I'm not going to put it out there until I'm ready to step back on stage or whenever the time comes. But I just want to just work with you, just so I have no noise around me or anything like that. And we've been working together for almost 2 years now. So, and this is our first show together. So, but she actually reached out to me after the Arnold UK, sorry. And then I jumped on a call with her, and we spoke for about an hour and a half, and I kind of knew, I was like, yeah, I'm signing up with you. So I think for me, it was like an instant connection. I already knew she was already in my head as who's someone I was going to contact anyway, but she did that instead. Like she contacted me and said, hey, I'd love to obviously hit call with you and like see where your head's at and stuff like that. So I was like, oh, cool, amazing. Like I was going to do the same anyway. So, and then we ended up talking for a long time. We spoke about loads of different things. And the thing is, Jamie has always been there. She's always been at every single one of my shows. She's actually been in there more shows than some of my previous coaches. So she's seen multiple different physiques of me, and she's always been like, you have the potential to go all the way. There's just so many things that we need to tweak and things that I want you to learn differently and do differently. And I think you'll then be there once you get that. So yeah, I mean, 2024, we kind of honestly was just getting my love for the sport back, because I really fell out in love with it in 2024. Like I knew I didn't want to stop bodybuilding, but I knew I had to stop bodybuilding and do something else and not do it for a while, because I was going to resent it otherwise. And I say this to a lot of people, like it's not shameful that you pull back from your passion and like not pursue it for a little bit to actually like throw you further ahead to actually fall in love with it again, you know? And I really fell out in love with it in 2024. Like I didn't know if I was going to step on stage again, because as much as I joined with Jamie, you know, I wasn't checking in. I found it so hard to track macros. I found it so hard to train. Like there was so many things that I really did not enjoy in 2024. And she was really, honestly, she was probably such an amazing coach, because she was so accommodating to me. Like, okay, let's try this instead. Okay, let's do this instead. If you're not enjoying this, like she was so adaptive. And I'm sure she said to me before, like she was like, I've never had someone do high rocks before or do all these things, and like you did them, and like we still conquered it and did it anyway. Like there were so many things that she had to learn along the way about me, because I was like, I'm not in the headspace to want to be a bodybuilder right now. And but she was like, I want to still keep you as an athlete, you know, and like I want you to still have that love for the passion, like moving forward. So it took time, and she was so patient with it. And like, yeah, I think when I then went to the Arnold in 2025, being around it, I think then made me be like, wow, I really do miss this. Like I do really, really miss this. And I think something clicked in me where I was like, yeah, I need to do this again. Like I need to take this seriously, and I want to take this seriously and like push forward. So I think after I did my high rocks, you know, I was still doing business things. I'd obviously just launched the Posing Portal app and stuff like that. So like I was very busy in that time. But I think in August time was when I locked in and was like, right, let's just see where we're at. And we just started dieting. Like we literally just started dieting just to see where my body was at. And we just kind of went from there. And then ever since then, it's been all systems go. And I was like, and I think by, what was it, November time, Jamie was like, do you think you want to apply for the Arnold? And I was like, yep, absolutely. So we applied and then got accepted.
Yeah. I mean, that's great that you found your passion and your love. And, you know, sometimes it's like people do it for such a long time, they kind of lose that like sense of purpose, and, you know, finding that again, and like, you know, what do I want to do? Like, do I do it for the love of it? Do I want a sense of belonging? But like you do it because for the love of it, and you love to train, you love to be part of the community, and just meeting all types of people, and, you know, even, you know, proving to yourself that I'm much more. You know, I can do a lot more, and I can bring some sort of value. And I definitely think that's great that you found Jamie, and that you found someone that you can really connect with, and someone who understands, you know, what's best for you and what you want in the future. So with that, I have one more, and this is before we go, but I appreciate you coming on. My last one for you.
No, of course, thank you.
When did you start the business, the Posing Portal, and how you help do posing for a lot of European athletes, even girls across the globe? So how did you start with that? How did you manage that? Another thing is, did you have a posing coach before, or did you kind of like figure it out all on your own? Because I could tell you, Jennifer Ronziti, when she was doing her national show, she would always qualify for nationals, but she's like, how do I pose again? She would do enough to like do it. And then she saw videos on YouTube and say, nope, I got to get a coach. She got 11th at her first nationals. And then the following year she won her class and took second in the overall, but she learned and she adapted as her experience went on. So for you, you decided to start this. Was it because of your own experience, or did you learn from somebody and then you decided to take it for your own?
So I've had one posing session, I think, and I was terrible at posing at the beginning. Like I was really, really bad. Like I learned through YouTube, through, I think it was Nikki Blackheader. She was posing, and I remember playing that same clip over and over again before my show, and just watching that over and over again. So that was pretty. That I had one posing session with a woman in our like town. One of my previous coaches did a lot of my posing for my first season when I was competing with him in 2017 and 2016. He was kind of posing me, but I was kind of doing. I'm still again. I was learning and doing everything myself. Like I think now actually kind of like relaying all my whole journey back. Like from what it sounds like, I have very big trust issues and I have to do everything myself from what it sounds like for me. But I feel like it's done through experience. Like I've just done everything through experience. So like I went on stage, there was things that I needed to work on. I worked on them and I just kept going. I kept going and going and going. And I started to then get more confident with things. I started to get better. Then people started to reach out to me and say, hey, do you do posing sessions? Like I'd love to pose with you and stuff like that. And then I think when that kind of started to happen, I think people preferred to be a posing coach with me versus online coaching, because I used to do online coaching as well. And at some point, I obviously had to pick which one to do it, online coaching or posing coaching. So, but how I've got to work with so many people, again, I think it's just through experience. Like I started to then, showcase of my journey online. I showed my posing, I showed my diet, I showed my training, like show how I pose people. And I think because I was open from the beginning, that's why people kind of like connect with me in that way, because I just show them like who I am. So they feel comfortable around me to want to pose and stuff like that, which I think is a very good skill you need to have to be a posing coach, because it's a very vulnerable thing for girls to do is posing, So yeah.
All right, last one. Your thoughts on Fit Model, and there's another follow-up question with Fit Model. So, your thoughts on Fit Model and how this is going to go, and how this, what the division is going to be, and two, do we see you doing posing for Fit Model a lot, especially with, I feel like the biggest thing in the difference between bikini and Fit Model is going to be is how well you present your physique and obviously having that stage presence. So give me your thoughts on all that.
I absolutely love Fit Model. Yeah, I absolutely love the category for Fit Model, because I do think that bikini has evolved, and I think it only is going to evolve. Like, you know what I mean? Like I think there's only so long they can kind of tame it a little bit and say, hey, like girls, like don't come in as muscular, don't come in as conditioned. And don't get me wrong, it still sits the criteria very, very well from what they've always originally wanted. But overall, it is a lot leaner. It is a lot denser. It has a lot more muscle now. So, and I don't think that they want to get rid of that. So I think the smart thing that they could have done is bring in Fit Model. I love where Fit Model is going. I love the physiques that you see. You've got Charlie, you've got Jane, you've got Janet now. You've got so many pros going, like bikini pros coming down, coming up from bikini going into Fit Model. And I love seeing it. You've got Jess going into it. Like there's so many athletes. You've got Brooke. I have so many athletes. And I really love seeing the way that it's, the way that you hold yourself in Fit Model. I love the shape and I love the silhouette. And I think that's definitely a good entry level for bodybuilding. I think it's the best thing they could have done, because they're going to streamline bodybuilding so much for the women's division. I'm just interested to see if they're going to do this for the men as well. Because you never know that they might do this, something on the similar side for men's physique. I think that would be really interesting if we do see that, and if we do see that switch of people going into that category, if that does happen. But that's obviously if that ever happens. But yeah, I love Fit Model. I think this is a really, really good switch, or a really good addition to bodybuilding. I know a lot of people don't like it because it's less muscular, it's less leanness and all that type of thing. But ultimately, I think it is only adding to bodybuilding as a whole. It's adding more faces, it's adding more money. And again, at the end of the day, to bring up the sport in general, we need promotion, we need sponsors, we need more faces, we need more people getting into bodybuilding. Because I think obviously when you're in the bodybuilding circle, you're like, oh, everyone knows about bodybuilding, like everyone knows about what it is, but like we're a very small niche community. So I do think that we need more people if we ever want to get, especially for the women's side of things, if we ever want to get prize funds even near what the bodybuilders get, we need more people in it. So I think this is a really good thing. And that's not me saying that that's the only reason I like Fit Model. I love Fit Model because I like the shapes and stuff and all that type of thing as well. But I think it was a very, very good thing that they've done.
Yeah. And I'm excited to see what this division goes to. I believe I've said this, and I've been asked this question, I think after maybe 5 shows. So maybe after Pittsburgh, we'll see where the division goes to. But I'm curious to see how, I think it's going to be like a popular physique type, maybe, where like someone's very, like, you know, that taller, longer girl where it's like it was hard to get the conditioning and the tie-ins in the back, but I feel like that kind of.
I will say I think it might be both. It might be a taller girl's game, like, because I think that with the longer legs, the way that the kind of front pose is, sometimes that caters for the longer the longer girls, the taller girls a little bit more. But again, I've got a lot of short athletes. Like I pose so many Fit Model pros going into Japan, into Pittsburgh, into Wasatch. So yes, I do posing for Fit Model. I do posing for both, but I do feel like it's anyone's game at the moment. Like we're looking at anyone being Miss Olympia right now. Like all these physiques, like there's so many different types of physiques that we're seeing, and we don't know what they look like next to each other yet. So it'll be really, really interesting to see, and I'm very, very excited for it, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, I was gonna say one thing. I've seen what you, Laura Lee, Janet, Casey, Moss as well, like that taller, longer physique. I'm seeing girls that like are going into it because they're like more longer torso, longer legs. So like I feel like this physique type is gonna be what the division is. Even if shorter girls that have like kind of longer limbs, I feel like that kind of it accentuates their physique so much better in that front stallion pose. I miss that pose. I actually like it. I like it so much better. I remember when you were doing it.
I don't like it. For me, I remember I used to do it as well. I remember I did that as a front pose before. I think I do like the pose, but I think I really now am liking the silhouette of what bikini brings in that front pose shot. I think that is like probably like my favorite now, and I like how they have the difference between those two for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I was like, when they brought it back, I'm like, please don't be that OG 2010s pose. I was like, it looked like someone snapped their back.
I think that's what they wanted. So I think they wanted that style. I think now it's molded like a little bit more, so it is a bit more posed, which it's not posed. It's still more relaxed. Like it's still very much relaxed, but it's a lot more posed than what people think. It looks relaxed. So it's very similar to bikini, like where the front pose looks relaxed, but you are completely contorted and twisted in different angles. It's the same as the Fit Model front pose. It looks relaxed, but it's actually very, very much not.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I was just thinking about it, like when I was looking at 20, like I think people stopped doing that and like how they had their feet together. I'm like, it was cringe looking back at it. It's like,
it's like, I mean, again, that's evolving, you know, it's evolution. Like I think I don't think I ever did the cross-legged back pose or anything like that. But I know I did it in my first show, but I didn't do it for NPC or like Pro League or anything like that. But I do think that it evolves. It only evolves, and it's cool seeing now like where the division's at and how, you know, muscular bikini is. And I know people hate on it and stuff like that, and they say, "Oh, I can't believe how muscular bikini's gotten." But I love the muscularity now. Like I love being that like having that much muscle, especially as a woman. Like it's nice to feel strong and like to be strong, because you know, bikini, I used to be told like don't lift as much, like don't train legs as much, don't train shoulders, don't train this, don't train that. Now I get to do all of that, and I get to train my shoulders, I get to train more things and still fit bikini criteria, which I love. And I think a lot of women really like that as well. Like they like having muscle, but they're not developed enough to be figure, they're not developed enough to be wellness. So where do they fit? That's bikini now. And I really like that it has evolved to that, because I hated when I used to be told don't train shoulders anymore or don't do this anymore. And it's like I got into bodybuilding to train. Like I got into bodybuilding to train, to now not lift or now not push myself in a way that where my physique kind of warrants that is hard. So I love that bikini is, again, it's not too muscular, it's definitely not, but it's a little bit more developed now, where it's evolved enough for us to feel strong in the division and stuff like that again.
Yeah. I mean, look, back then they're like, oh, they don't train, they don't look like they work out. And I'm like,
We
Sorry to
hip
say
thrust
this.
way more than the guys now.
I'm gonna add one more thing. Like, oh, they don't train. Like, this is not a bodybuilder division. You see all the stuff, and I'm like, and why the girls in bikini have better calves than the chicken leg boys in the men's physique? Like, why they look?
I have so much better calves than some of the men's physiques guys. I will say that. Like,
Yeah,
I
and
have
I'm
way
like,
better calves.
they train, and you know what? They love doing it. They're not just because back then it was like cardio bunny, asparagus, fish diets,
Yeah.
800 calories, 2 hours of cardio. People would eat only 5 almonds. I remember girls were like, I ate 2 almonds. I have Stairmaster for 2 hours. I'm like, no, we're much better. We're much better now. We're much better.
Yeah. We're
Yeah,
actually healthy.
yeah. It was, but we didn't know. And obviously, you can't blame because back at the beginning, it was kind of like what they were training like in figure they did in bikini, but now it's like, no, this is a totally different category. We do think they do things differently, and everybody's individualized and everybody's body type's different. It's not like the cookie cutter plans that everybody used to do, like eat this is the way. No, everyone's gonna find what works for them. And I like how the divisions about. I see the criticisms of bikini. Oh, it's like miniature wellness, or it looks like a figure. But no, it's like we've evolved. There's a difference if you take some
But then
girls.
you look at figure and look at what it is now. It's the exact same. It's the exact same. So I know everyone says, like, they always say look at bikini, but like look at bodybuilding. Like, look how big the bodybuilders are now compared to what they
evolves.
were previously before. Same with figure, same with physique. Like, everyone's evolved. Every category has evolved. But I think it is more so bikini and obviously fit model that kind of got the front end of it a little bit. Same with men's physique as well. But again, we've all evolved, and I love that we are able to evolve and obviously still have that, I don't know, strong mentality. I love it.
Yeah. I mean, everything evolves. It just gets competitive, which it's like, hey, look, it's going to bring out the best guys. And, it's just best person has to win at the end of the day. And I mean, listen, people can go say, I liked it back in this age. Like, yeah, but this is now. I mean, it's like, you can look at it like, either get on the ride, embrace it, or forget about it. I mean, I don't complain. I mean, even when classic began to what it is now, I look at it where it's like, hey, look, it's great that it's evolving. It's great that's like, it's making things more competitive. It's making where it's like, hey, I get to go improve, and I get to go and train. I get to, do something where it's like, I can display a physique. I can display that hard work. And I love every division. I like all the divisions. I'm a fan of every division. Everyone has obviously a favorite of what they like and what they don't like and what they prefer. But I mean, you look at, even you talked about how it's bringing opportunities into fit model. You look at why the Arnold only has those 6 divisions, because they want to make it mainstream. I mean, you look across the world. I mean, Germany is taking over figure. Half the girls qualified are from Europe, or Rhea lives in the US, but South America has wellness, and then you see most of the shows in Asia have fit model, because those girls look amazing. I'm curious to see what they look like with the girls that we have here, but those girls look like models. They have a fashion sense. It's great. It's growing clothing brands. It's growing supplement companies. It's bringing traction. I mean, one of the 2 biggest sponsors, you think about it, for the Olympia, New Tech is from South Korea, Integral is from Brazil. So it's bringing international. We're not just US based. We're not just a US. We're like the whole world. So you're seeing every region, every part of the world, every hemisphere bring something to it, and it's like that physique type is going to be popular, and that's what's attainable. Because think about it, have you done any? I don't think you've done any Asian shows.
I have always wanted to. I won't lie. I do really, and potentially the end of this year, like, I think that might be something that I lean into, or maybe even mid-year, that might be something to do for sure. Because I've always wanted to do Asia shows.
But we if like someone big walks into Asia, they'll look at us like, what? We're gigantic.
Yeah.
I was this video with Samson down in South Korea.
I feel like any country he goes to, honestly, everyone's going to be like crazy of it because he's massive.
And then you see
I will
Terrence.
apologize. I do have. I know. It's so small. I will apologize. I do have to go soon. I'm not going to lie.
Listen,
sorry.
I'm going to say this. I appreciate it. I would love to continue to talk.
No, of course.
But anyone you want to shout out before we hang up? I really appreciate your time.
No, of course. Thank you so much for having me. Like, we've chatted for 2 hours, so it's been so great to finally be on like a call and stuff, go through the history. Again, like always, always the normal. Obviously, if you ever wanted to pose with me or anything like that, just head to the Posing Portal Instagram page or theposingportal.com, or obviously message me to obviously pose and stuff like that. And yeah, that was pretty much it. So.
Yeah. And guys, you can also find Phoebe on YouTube as well. So I'm also going to share
Yes,
that as
I've
well.
been doing very, very long. I've been doing very, very long YouTubes recently because a lot of people have just been enjoying the vlogs. Really, it's been really, really fun being able to do kind of like long starts variations of like vlogs and stuff like that. So I really enjoy it.
Yeah. Well, Phoebe, I just wanted to say this. I really thank you for coming on. I will be in Columbus.
No, of
I can't wait
course,
to see you there. And hopefully,
I'm
I see you at
excited.
Pittsburgh in the Olympia, but I really appreciate your time. It was great to catch up with you and, get to have this long talk because sometimes it's only brief when we go to some of these shows. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'd love to get on again eventually sometime.
Yeah, of course. After the Arnold or something like that, that would be so cool. So we can actually chat about like the what happens and stuff like that moving forward. So yeah.
Yeah, and also what you and Corey are doing with Stage Talk is truly great. And also,
Thank
obviously,
you.
obviously, I like review and recap shows, but you guys are going into depth, and you guys have such great conversations on it. So you guys keep up the great work, and I'm looking forward to seeing
Yeah,
it.
you too.
But thank you so much, Phoebe. And once again, you're such an amazing
Of
person
course.
and such a great ambassador for the sport. And I'm happy to have, met you and that I get to see your whole journey through this all.
Thank you. That really does mean a lot. It makes it special being able to kind of like share it with people like this and obviously be able to kind of, share my journey like this as well. So thank you for being that platform to do that.
Thank you so much, Phoebe. Anyways, you take care. I know you got to go, but I wanted to say
No,
this
you're good.
from
You're
bottom of my
good.
heart. Thank you very much.
Thank you. See you soon.
Take
Bye.
care.